Hey everyone, my name is Kae Goode. I'm excited that you all decided to step in into some of the conversations that I'm having, and at the moment, this workshop that I'm having right now. I'm really excited that you all are here. So let's start out by just introducing who I am. My name is Kae Goode. My pronouns are she, they. I'm a Black trans femme that at the moment I'm based in the South. Currently, not currently. What am I talking about? I'm originally from New Jersey. I've just lived in so many different places. I'm from New Jersey by way of Detroit. I used to live in Detroit as well. But now I live in Atlanta. It's interesting to be in all those places and see what gentrification looks like. Just a little side note. It's just like revisiting like some of my hometowns and like some of my childhood homes. It's just like really an interesting experience to just really think about. But yeah, so I'm here. Like I said, I'm a Black trans femme based in Atlanta. A little bit of the work that I do, I'm a trans leadership coordinator at a grassroots organization based in the South. Yeah, we do a lot of cool work. And if you want to just stay engaged with that, I can give you my Instagram now before we go into anything. My Instagram is at goodegawd, GOODEGAWD. Also, you can connect with me via email, K Gabby, GABBY, good, GOODE at gmail.com. So that's kgabbygood at gmail.com. And honestly, if you connect with me on Instagram, it's so many links of other ways to connect with me, or you can just DM me or do whatever you like. And I'll just bring that back up toward the end of the talk that I'm doing today. So yeah, before we just jump in, I just really want to talk about digital art. Like, what is digital art, right? Digital art is art done digitally. This is literally how I just define it to people, because a lot of people, I don't want to give you like this, oh my God, it's amazing, flowery, like beautiful, like, I mean, all those things are good, right? But I want to just give it to you so like it's easier for you to digest and like understand. Digital art is art that is digital, created digitally. So it can be, you can literally paint, you can create like painted art, you can create sketches, you can create animation. Digital art literally has no bounds, and like I'm so in love with it. And as a person whose background is in artistry, right? So outside of doing digital art, I've always drawn, I've always sketched, I've always painted, I've done so many different things as an artist. And I think it's really amazing to be able to like bring all that together. Yeah, because I'm honestly, like, full transparency, I'm not a newer digital artist, but I'm kind of new in the realm as far as the software that I use now. I use Procreate, which is an app you can actually get off of like your app store. If you have an iPad, you can actually download the app. It's like $20, but it's definitely worth it. I swear, I promise it's definitely worth it. But yeah, my background, I've done graphic design as well. So I used to, at my old school, I used to be be in the graphic design department and create different graphics and logos for different organizations and sometimes companies. It just varied, but I don't want to get too lost in that. I just want to really just give you like that intro and talk about digital art so that, I don't know, folks can like have an understanding of what digital art is and why it's so important right now. So give me 1 second, let me drink some water. Mouth's a little dry. Oof. Knew that. But yeah, so what was I saying? I was saying that trying to think, what was I to say? Okay, so I may have lost myself, sorry. But going back, just really talking about digital art and what brought me there. Okay, so yeah, I'm there. I kind of already talked about like my background as far as like the different art styles that I do, and like I used to do graphic design, and this is literally graphic design. But also talking about like why it's important in this moment. So, as we all know, we're navigating COVID-19 and social distancing, and a lot of us haven't really seen each other face to face in so long, right? Like, for me, it's so wild to really think, like, wow, I haven't seen some of my friends in a year. Like, a year. Like, a year's time has passed since I've seen so many of my loved ones, so many people that I care about. Um, yeah, it's a really interesting moment to, like, have to navigate as like a person who's built community, like not only digitally but like physically. Like I'm into touching, like, I don't know, people my chosen family. I'm into hugging people. I'm into checking in and going over their house and just, having a moment with them. But also even talking about like organizing, right? And talking about like what does that look like for folks who do organizing work, or what does that look like for folks who do community building work. We can even just call it that, right? We can talk about like what does it look like to community build when you have to be 6 feet away from each other. So a lot of folks have been using the internet, right? The internet to use the internet to like have these different conversations, to engage with folks, to build community. And I found myself just doing the same, right? So like my work is my life. Like it's really important to me to build community with folks. It's really important for me to build connections and show up for people and stuff like that. And I know I had a few moments where I wasn't able to do that, but then I don't know. But then like I guess in time I just like kind of got back on my feet. Those things happen, but yeah, definitely. So I feel like digital art and let's talk about storytelling for a second, but even like acknowledging that storytelling exists within digital art. Art tells a story. Art will continuously tell stories no matter how someone may read it or digest it. It's a story that's being told through art. And I know I just like jumped from COVID-19 to storytelling, but the only reason why I'm just doing that is just connecting the two, connecting what does it look like to talk about art and storytelling in the same like breath, right? Storytelling isn't always a folklore. It isn't always like words. So like, oh hey, this is a story. This is my experience as this person. This is how I navigate the world. This is why it's important to show up for these people. That right. Storytelling can exist in art. It can exist in ways where a person doesn't necessarily have to always talk, and that's what digital art does for me. Personally. And it took me a while to kind of get my grips with as far as using my platform to kind of like discuss all the things via digital art, and like really being intentional about how I engage audiences and like grasp audiences, not engage, but yes, engage. Let me slow down a bit. I know I'm talking kind of fast. Sometimes I talk fast, so I apologize. But yes, just talking about how digital art tells stories. So I can go into specifically about some of my work that I've done. So some of my work specifically, as I talked about earlier, it like centers like trans folks, right? Giving folks resources, having different conversations that can shift culture about people's perspectives around like transness or trans people, or the systems that harm trans people as well as other folks, right? Because when we focus on those who are furthest from proximity to power, we discuss the conversations that center other folks as well, right? Right. Okay. So yes. So a little bit about my art, right? So I said that my art does these things, but also my art is literally like, for example, I'm trying to think. I do like digital zines, right, on my Instagram, and I talk about why it's important for Black men to show up for Black trans women. I talk about how can cis people show up for trans and non-binary folks. Some of my work is used as a tool for folks to raise funds. I've created different posters and digital signage that folks can like share. It's like shareable digestible content that helps folks like engage with like the content, specifically like fundraising content. So there are folks, we know COVID-19 is like a thing that's been affecting like our communities. We know COVID-19 has been a thing that's been affecting our communities. So even before COVID-19, I mean, honestly, we've been needing to like, I guess, get more of a grasp onto like digital like art, and using digital art as a form of content creation to like engage folks who aren't in like these communities, to show up for these communities. So yeah, and I do that on Instagram, Twitter. I've helped folks raise a plethora of amount of money, and that varies. And even raising money for myself, because as a trans person, I don't even necessarily have all the resources, right? Some people look at me as if I'm a person that folks can like come to, right? Or I'm their go-to trans person, right? And discussing like conversations like regarding like how to show up for trans people, but people forget that I am a trans person, right? And I need people to show up for me too, right? So just give you an example of some of the work I've done. Again, for me personally, I've raised a couple thousand for like my surgery fund, because I've been raising funds to get gender affirming surgery as well. So yeah, I've been like creating different signages and different like pieces of art to kind of engage folks to like donate to my fundraiser, because guess what, as a trans person, we don't always have like the resources that we need, right? And I think people need to realize like the importance in that. And that's why a lot of my work centers specifically trans folks, because a lot of trans folks can be working jobs, right? And they can be making okay money, but then also discussing like folks who still don't have like affordable health care, because a lot of these gender affirming surgeries, sometimes they might not even come up as like a cosmetic, they might not even come up as an affirming surgery for whatever insurance they may have, or whatever. Like, it varies. Healthcare is a very touchy, a very iffy conversation for trans folks, because some of these healthcare providers don't necessarily like have like good insurance that actually like, I guess, comprehensive health insurance that actually like helps trans people like get the resources that they need. So like a trans woman may need FFS, right? And that may be seen as cosmetic surgery. Or a trans man may want a top surgery, right? And that might be perceived as a cosmetic surgery, or any kind of surgery. They may want like more masculine a surgery that makes them feel more, whatever surgery makes them feel at home in their body. It doesn't really matter. It varies, right? Because we still have these conversations. A lot of these healthcare providers only like provide services specifically to like genitalia, right? Or hormones, but sometimes not even that. It varies. It really varies. And I'll urge you to do a lot more research into that and see what that looks like for you. Whew. Let me take a little second. I know I've been talking a lot. I just want to take a second for myself. But yeah, so yeah, just talking about how like a bulk of my work is inspired by like me wanting folks to have the resources that they deserve, and also myself. Like, I'm a person who has a background who was like homeless, right? I had to advocate for myself, and I think I got lost in that as a person who's done like community building work or community support work. I've lost myself in the work sometimes, and just like pushing back the things that I need for my body, or the things that affirm me in my body, right? But yeah, so just talking about digital art and storytelling as a tool to show up for queer and trans folks, or specifically trans people, trans non-binary folks, right? I think people just need to understand the importance. People need to understand the importance of why these folks need these resources, why these people are marginalized, why these people are in danger, right? Why these people need the things they need to just feel at home in their bodies. Whereas a cis person may not even necessarily think of any surgery that just affirms their body. There are cis people that have that need gender affirming care, right? But We're not censoring cis folks, we're censoring trans folks at the moment. So, but just talking about like, see how if you focus on folks who are furthest from proximity to power, you see how it'll literally like be a domino effect, and it can literally give the folks who need the same resources and care. But yeah, definitely that. But just really going back, trying to just stay in the topic, right, and just keep discussing the importance of digital art. Yeah, so I think digital art as a tool. Just thinking about digital art and storytelling as a tool to like give folks to show up for like trans communities is just super important. And I think folks need to just figure out more ways to be more engaged. And I think in community, there's this conversation about how folks feel like white folks aren't really like doing the things that they were doing, like those 2 weeks when like the whole Black Lives Matter movement was like, oh, super popular and everybody was sharing everything. People was really getting their coin, and it was a super exciting moment to really experience because people actually were engaging and sharing people's content, sharing people's fundraiser screenshots, sharing people's GoFundMe's, actually donating to people's GoFundMe's. And I think that's what my work is. My work is to urge folks to like do the necessary work that is needed for folks' survival. Yeah, this work is so important to me because our people need to survive, and our people need to survive, and we need those resources, right? And I think for the folks that are watching, I don't know everybody's individual experience or everybody's individual story, but I think it's up to you to like define your story and tell your story. And you can use any medium. You don't even necessarily have to use art, but I think your story is so important, but also be able to recognize those who are furthest from proximity to power to you. Like, you may have a privilege that someone else may not have. So I think it's just so important to like constantly like be uplifting each other's stories. Our stories are trans people's fundraisers. Our stories are what trans people need to be kept safe. Our stories are trans people being able to have affordable housing. Our stories look like trans people having, co-signers because they may not have the best credit. Our stories look like, just trans people being affirmed. A trans woman may need a wig. That's our stories. Our stories are a collection of our experiences. And I think thinking about digital art and thinking about how digital art tells a story, right? It tells a story. It's a collection of someone else's experience, or it may not be an experience you may not know of. It may be a story of liberation. It may be a story of hope. But I think it's important for folks to really, really just like dig deep. And if you came to this conference, or if you're in this panel, if you're in this session, just recognize like the work and the support that folks need out here. Because remember how I was just talking about those 2 weeks with like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and a lot of folks were just like, oh, we're gonna support all these people, and it only lasts for 2 weeks. People still need support. People still need help. People still need resources. There's still work that needs to be done, and just still work that needs to be done. And like, I'm a leftist, so I understand like the importance of folks wanting to vote, but I also understand the importance of folks because harm reduction, right? But also understand folks who need those resources to survive. Some people don't even have the ability to go vote because they're trying to survive their everyday life. There are people who are not even worried about voting because they're trying to do sex work so that they can be able to put food on the table and provide for their family. There are people who are not necessarily thinking about voting right now because they may be just trying to like feel affirmed in their body and feel at home in their body and feel safe going outside just to go to the store, feeling safe going to take out the trash, you know. And we can talk about all these other things all day, right? But even this session right now, this is a form of storytelling. I'm telling you about my experience. I'm telling you about the work that matters to me. I'm telling you about how I use art to I'm using art to tell stories. I'm using art to uplift people's experiences. I'm using art to center those who are furthest from proximity to power. I'm using art to just support folks, you know, to amplify their voices. And I think that work is so important. And I'm going to kind of close out. I don't know if I talked your ear off. I don't know if you got enough from me, and I hope you did. But, you know, if not, we can definitely have more conversation offline. I'm willing to talk to whoever. Just contact me. You can, again, my email is kaegabbygoode@gmail.com. If it's about work, if you need me to do some work, if you want me to hold something down, my work email is info.kaegoode@gmail.com. Also Instagram, GOODEGAWD, Good God. And you can see some of the work that I've done, seeing some of the content that I create, and it may not be, everything may not all be there, but I've definitely done a lot of work. Also, look on my highlights on my page. You can definitely see, like, I have a highlight specifically for folks who are raising funds to have the resources that they need to survive, or the resources that they need to thrive, because everyone deserves to just thrive, you know, and have like those resources, and not just, oh, you know, penny pitching crumbs just to like live to the next day. You know, people deserve to have whole meals so that they can live off of forever, because that's what liberation looks like, right? Thanks for jumping into my session, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Take Root. Bye.